Good afternoon from sunny and although dark Orlando, and sorry about being late, but we ran into some more friends at the Miller's Ale House, so that's what we caught up a little bit to see what was going on. And now, in order to even catch up on some time, we are walking to the area that I did the first one on, and then we'll finish it right there. So to get right into it, review of the day. I did a review on the Fiberbuilt mats. For those of you that are indoors or even want to hit indoors to out of doors, that is the way to go. They have two different varieties of mats, and they have and they're very long lasting. I can tell you that. I've had some of those mats in my area for nearly 10 years before we got rid of them. So certainly, and they're not over the top in cost either, so that's always a good thing. Michael, the guy from Canada, very easy to work for, or very easy to deal with, and very nice. So you can contact him directly, Fiberbuilt, or give me a call and I can help you along the way. Another, we got to go see, I got to speak with Sean Toulon of Odyssey. Hey, Mr. Carmichael from Scotland. Now there's something. We went international. Thank you. And so we did the talk with Sean Toulon, and some of the offerings that are going to be coming out of there in the next month or two are going to be pretty spectacular. The new paint cycle, you know, everybody's thinking red is the way to go, and that's fine. What they've done is they've incorporated a, there you go, they've incorporated a charcoal gray into it. Okay, they've incorporated charcoal gray, and it makes the color of the red stand out a little bit more. And then what they do is they're paint filling with white. And so for you guys that have trouble with the aligning, this is going to be really good stuff. I've got it loaded in the computer. Whoop, I go this way. I've got it loaded in the computer, and you'll be able to see it, although it's pretty far away. But some of the stuff he comes up with is pretty impressive. It has a new insert, the O-Works insert where the fingers move. There's still some of that in there, but the backing is going to be much harder and giving it a more firm feel. So he's thinking that, and that's more of a request from the tour. And from what I saw, the new 7 model has a much more industrial look. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. Had a really neat industrial look. Colors were good, but it has a lot of that frame working in it instead of solids in order to move weights around. So very good. And I took a lot of pictures that I posted on the Callaway community of the wedges and some of the things, that the different wedges, because we had some black and greens from you Ohio guys. There was one that said Go Bucks on it. You just, you know, you can order whatever it is that you like. So that's pretty impressive. The whole display that they had going on was very good. And we actually took a little bit of a look at their apparel line. And although the apparel is separate as far as it's not totally under the Callaway banner, but it does look good. The 2018 Futura line. I didn't get over to Titleist, but I got a few hours in the morning. I will put that on my list to go look at, bud, and we'll see. Also, I actually got to hit the Wilson C300s. Now, for lefties, the clubs really aren't due until sometime, you know, I got middle this month, I got April, and then I got March. So I think they're kind of struggling with the left-handy, but the right-handed stuff's out there. And but they did have some demos for me to hit from a left-hand point of view. And I have to say that the driver and the hybrid are extraordinarily solid. That's the best way. They weren't hard per se, but you know when you hit a club and it's very, very solid, it just has a really good feel to it when you hit it. And it had the original, the real Fujikura speeder in it. And so it looks to be pretty neat, because you're going to have that red flat marble finish on the head, and then you're going to have the black and white Fuji, so it'll look pretty good in the bag. And I did get to hit the iron, and surprisingly, I thought the cast club felt a little softer than the forged, and I think that has to do with the fact that the power holes go all the way around the club versus just across the bottom on the forged. Now, it could have been the way I was hitting, but it came out pretty decent. So all in all, I think that the Wilson folks are going to have a very, very strong line. And we got to see that they started their driver versus driver series again. And so of course, everybody's going to be different except for Mr. Clark, who's the guy that runs Wilson. So, you know, if you own the company, you can do what you don't want to do. So we ought to see something good from there. Walked around, looked for some training aids and things like that I thought might be new and innovative. And the only thing that really truly caught our eye was called a chip-tack-toe. And basically it was a big webbing. It was a 12 by 12 webbing, and then broken into 4-foot squares that you can go lay out on the yard or in the range or something, and basically chip in there and play tic-tac-toe. Sorry, but they didn't, you know, apparently, you know, the stringy bands and things like that are still out there, but nothing was particularly new. I did go look at Cobra, just to go look around, and they had kind of a new model of the Trusty Rusty, and it looked pretty cool. There was two different kinds of finishes on it, one more of a darker finish than the other, but they were both in that bronze kind of look. That looked pretty good. They also had a complimentary iron set that went with it, not just the single length, but the regular sets, the multi-length sets. They also had, what else was I trying to go look at? I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff. We did this morning, we talked about the grips, and we went through all that. I went looking at a couple of new shaft makers, and although one was made from a very high quality, it was so far outside the price range of the people that would normally come see me, it just wasn't feasible. But unfortunately, because the paint jobs on them look very, very, very cool. So I really thought that was neat. Ross says on Project X, on Hazardous Project X shafts, what is the difference between, oh, I lost it. Oh, here we go. What is the difference between the handcrafted normal part, handcrafted and the normal part from the 240 price tag? Well, if you're talking about the one that comes like in the Callaway, the Project X is the Hazardous that comes in the Callaway, or that one, there's different materials in them, and they're made differently. The handcrafteds, as I understand it, are all made here in the US, and the rest of them are not. So that could be your difference. Golf balls. They're a big deal in coloring golf balls. Okay, Volvic obviously is the colored golf ball, but Wilson is really jumping both feet into the color pool. They've got the very high intensity colors, the reds, the yellows, the greens, and there might even be a blue in there. They have a flat finish on their Duo, and now for those of you who hit the Duo is very nice, but now they have these colors. Callaway's got a few. They're bigger. They're really going to more concentrate on the True Viz. And I saw yet another company that was jumping into the color bin, but I just can't remember who it was. Yeah, it must have been an off-brand. Otherwise, I would have remembered it completely. So, guys, that's as far as moving around and seeing all that. That's what I saw. Now, I did answer some of the questions that guys sent me. I just sent them notes back privately just so that they saw it. They were wanting to know about U.S. Kids. We got that taken care of, and went back to a couple of the other vendors that we'd already seen and did that. There's been a lot of Wilson on your channel. Do you deal with their components, or is it just coincidence with upgrades? No, actually, I am one of the very few. I just found this out today. I am one of a select few that can actually deal in components. I just asked for it and said that's how I wanted to deal with it, and they approved me. So that's what I've got. So thanks for the question. I talked to KBS, Mr. Braley, and they have a graphite out. This is their big release into iron shafts, and it's more for the average player, not the tour player, which he normally builds for. And very good, Scott. And so it was kind of unique. And they also just released a hybrid that's a little bit more to give you that more penetrating launch, and it's in the graphite, and it comes out as a he's got prototype on it, but once you come out to release, it's no longer a prototype by definition. But it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's just a matte black with the big red band on it, but he does have some other issues. If you guys like colors on your iron shafts, they do have a black and a white and some different labels, colored labels that you could put on it. Of course, that would be at an extra cost, but they do have it. I'm gonna check. Let's see, what else did we see today? What else did we go through and we see today?
You brought up the skateboard.
Oh yeah, well, one of the big things for me this year was I'm just infatuated with a new way of getting around the golf course, whether it be on one of those golf boards or whether it be in a mini bike looking thing. And I actually did take a ride on what's called the Elwee, and it's basically an electrical four-wheeler that's made to hold, you get a bracket and it'll hold a golf bag. And the Elwee went pretty fast. But it had the turf tires on it and stuff like that, and it's good for like 30 hours. So it's really kind of interesting, all the electrical type rides that came through. One called the Fat Bike, PHAT bike, and I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. I know where it's at now, so we're going to take a few pictures of that. What really surprised me is golf board being the the preliminary. Yeah, that's what well, the Elwee went for. Matthew Statmiller is asking for costs. Well, the Elwee I checked. The Elwee comes with basically a Microsoft iPad. I'm not sure the people that make it, but it's a Microsoft cup in there, and if you get that, it's $6,500, I think. Without it, it's $59. They take 64 because they take $400 off. And they go $59.95, so $6 grand, and it goes for 30 hours. The golf board, which you stand on and ride and goes for about 24 holes, was right at $6,900. Personally, I'm sitting for that. And now I'm wondering what the Fat Bike is going to be, but I'm really interested because it just looks so cool to go around. Yeah, ouch. And for $6,900 you could buy a damn golf cart. I mean, you just could. So you really gotta really figure out what it is that you want to get around on. I wish I really wish if they would touch in something that started with a 4 instead with a 6, and you could use it for quite a while, you might actually get your money's worth out of it. So you really, because popularity, maintenance, being able to use the warranty, that kind of stuff really comes into play when you're trying something new like that out. And so we did that. Oh, I did we attached ourselves to FlightScope. All right, I'm a big FlightScope guy. I'm a certified guy, and the X3, we got it last year, but it was kind of glitchy. And I went back and I talked to the R&D guys, and they promised me that it's no more glitchy. So that's a good thing. And so you'll see some episodes that'll be powered by FlightScope. And what we're going to do is attach that to another item that I bought, which was called Blast Motion. So those of you guys in Ohio, I'm going to be looking for about 4 or 5 guys that I need to try and make a new putting system and figure out what means what when these things create data for me. And then we can look and see what good putts and what bad putts mean. So if you see this and you're in the Ohio area and you want to be part of this testing program when I finally get all the gear in-house and set it up, then we'll invite you in and we'll have you putt, and you can get a just basically go through what will we call it? Well, it'll certainly be a computerized putter fitting, and for right now it'll be a brand spanking new, because you should have seen some jaws open up when I told what people I was doing. They're like, huh? They're like, it's like they never thought of it. I can't believe it. So we could be on the verge of something, you know, right on the forefront of this particular genre of fittings. So that could be cool. Trying to think if we went anywhere else. We went to Black Clover. And you guys like Black Clover as far as the hats with the clover on the front? And they have what's in the front of their hats. As you notice, everywhere I go I'm wearing a hat, and that's just basically to cover up my bald head. And they have what's called a memory foam in the front, and it's a spot about this big that goes right across the front. Instead of getting all the wavily things like this right here, all right, you don't get those. It's just a big old memory foam piece. Hey Matt, what's going on? Matt Revlock says hi. Yep. And we just get you get the clover on the front, and they happen to have, again for you Ohio guys, a scarlet and gray hat. It's a gray hat with what's that? And Matt, the day was actually pretty good for what we got done. We got a lot of videos in and all that other stuff. Found out what their most popular hat was, a white hat with a green clover on it, which intrigues me. But they had one in there, and I think I might go in there and pick one up before we leave. It was a regular hat, and it was a clover, but it had the U.S. flag inside the clover, and it had the memory foam on it. And that would be I think very, very cool to see. So there's some of the things. So tomorrow I have we got to leave by noon in order to catch our flight. So the thing opens up at, I believe, 8:30. So we'll be standing there waiting to get in at 8:30 and doing a couple of last-minute items. If you guys have any last-minute things to check, now's the time to put it down there in the show notes, so I can go take a look at them. Whether it be a head cover, or I did see a couple of other head companies, but these guys were more expensive than PXG, and I don't think that unless you guys are willing to go there, it's more than what my area would hold. So again, thanks for watching, fellas and ladies, if there are any out there. And oh, did you guys talk grips? What about hat clips? Well, we did talk grips. Now we had 3 or 4 of them. If you want it, we can go through that again. The Lamkin is coming out with 3 brand new grip styles, different textures, different tackiness, different colors, or paint fills. We'll call it paint fills. And they're also helping out Flat Cat. And Flat Cat has a weighted grip coming along, and they also have a rubberized grip. I like the rubberized better than all the rest of them. So Lamkin jumped into the pool with both feet, like I said. Super Stroke is putting out a couple of regular grips, not necessarily putter grips, because they got a full line of putter grips. What I do have coming from them is a couple of extra weights, so I can fully we can check and make sure you get the right back weight in your putter, and so that's always a positive. And we checked, wind. If you guys recognize the XL grip, which was the fat, softer grip, and it got kind of slickery when it got wet. They took that very style and they put the Drytech, the Drytech material on it. So now it's a nice tour wrap kind of feel, but it's a little firmer. So that looked good, and they're coming out with putter grips. You know, they all have the mid-size, the standard, the pistol, that kind of stuff, but in a different color flavor. And the textures weren't too bad either. A little bit more, I'll call it like little nubbin type things. It was good. So we should be okay there. And so from the grip line, I think we're in pretty good shape. From a shaft perspective, you know, I think Acura is covering us pretty good. I talked to the guy. UST didn't display, but they were out and around, and I did talk to them and ask them for a few specific things. So we got that, and then who else? And then talked with the guys from Excalibur, and they say they should be ready around February. We'll see. And then if you guys saw the video on the New Level Golf, apparently that has gone crazy. That video has gone crazy. He's just as happy as can be, and I'm happy for him because he is a super good guy, and he is quite the player himself. So you can guarantee you he's got a players in mind. And I just can't wait for him to throw down on a lefty version of it because he's for his dad. So again, we're running up on about 22 minutes here, guys. PWL 1371 says hey, and I say hey right back, bud. Great live stream. See you all Saturday. Yes, we will. And what I will do is, the wife's trying to get me to finish off our dessert here, so hold on. That was the one bite I get of the dessert. I don't know what that tells. I don't know what that tells you.
There's two or three. Come on.
No, there's one. There's two.
There's a third
There's
one
two.
in here.
No, there was two. So that's it.
There's three.
No, there's not.
Okay, fine.
So we'll do probably one. If we do one, it'll have to be. Thank you, Matt. It says be safe, headed home, and we certainly hope we will be. We'll probably try and do one right around 11-ish, between 11 and 11:30 before we climb in the car for a live stream, and then when we get back, we'll finish up with the things that we saw, because I might be able to get another video on somebody interesting. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and let's see your scores go low.